would you agree that in today's world, that most distributors, you being a distributor yourself, you really have no idea how they're going to perform on these platforms? Because one year, like iTunes, I don't know, I'd love to ask you a question. iTunes at one point was a good revenue stream for TVOD. There was a lot of TVOD, a lot of rentals, a lot of things. But nowadays, it's more SVOD and AVOD. And that could change next year. Who knows?
And I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly the case. And the truth is that a lot of filmmakers like their film on iTunes because it's kind of a prestige type platform. But
it's a vanity platform. It's a vanity
platform. Absolutely, Alex. Absolutely. And they are not really the big revenue generators. We always saw that Amazon Prime was the big guy. Now, however, let's preface that. In the last couple of years, Amazon Prime changed their rev share model a couple of times, right? And not to the
benefit of us. Sure.
Right? So I think at some point, and if you remember, for a short period of time, they had this Amazon Stars bonus program, right? And I don't know if you're familiar with that. We were lucky that we had, I think the last time we saw anything was back at the end of 2017. We had 4 films. What they would do is that they would evaluate films, and by the end of the month, if your film fell into whatever their algorithms were as far as performance went, they almost practically matched what you made. So we had a thing in the last third and fourth quarter of 2017. We had 4 films where they had performed so well that we ended up getting a $40,000+ bonus check for those films.
Can you imagine?
Now, somewhere along the line, somebody at Amazon was like, "What the hell are we doing? We must be sending so much money out." That they've pretty much killed that, as far as I can tell. We haven't seen anything since then, and we've most certainly had films since that time frame perform very well that did not get a benefit of an Amazon Stars bonus check, unless it went into somebody's pocket.
But the bottom line is what you're trying to say is that the things, and before, in the olden days, let's say the 90s or even early 2000s, they were more stable ways of making money, and they weren't changing so rapidly. So like you could justify the DVD market, you could justify cable deals, there was that. But now things change so rapidly that what was good in 2017 doesn't make any sense today. So there's no way to broadcast.
Right, and even to the point that the platforms, I don't think, have been able to keep up with the ever-changing ingestion of content from the consumer. But then to go back to this, so Amazon was the big performer, and they're still very solid, at least for us. I can say are still pretty solid. But the one who's on their heels from our side, from our perspective,
can I guess? Can I guess?
Yeah.
Tubi.
Yes. Tubi TV, man, I got to tell you. And it goes to show you the ever-changing landscape of things. Because, look, what happened years ago with things like TiVo? People got on the kick of, I don't want to watch commercials. I want to fast forward through commercials. No commercials, right?
Right.
Now you got all the streaming sites and subscription sites. Well, now we're at a point, too, where it's like, how many streaming sites can people afford?
Right. And there's 5 new major ones coming next year.
It's insane. So what happened now is something like Tubi TV, it's owned by AdRise, got super smart. And they started creating the AVOD platform. And if you look at Tubi, just if you compared it from just a couple of years ago to today, they're getting incredible content. They're getting big movies. They're getting TV shows. They're getting all kinds of stuff.
Everything is being tossed on there. Everything is being tossed on there.
That's why people are tuning in, because there's no subscription. There's no sign up. There's nothing required. And so what they do is they go, hey, I don't mind watching the commercials, because the great thing about Tubi also is they don't edit the content. There's no editing. It's not like going on to a big major television
It's like
network.
watching Scarface edited.
Right.
Oh, go fudge yourself. Fudge yourself.
Yeah. They don't do that. And I think that that's also been a big part of their success as far as what I can tell. So I got to tell you, we push Tubi TV from a promotional standpoint all the time. We push the hell out of that platform. And also, too, they're expanding around the world. It was that they were limited to North America, but now they have an app that's starting to open them up to countries all over the world. So I think they're going to become a real contender. I also think that you look at something like Vudu's division. Vudu has a division called Movies on Us. Same thing, where you're not paying. It's commercial based.
AVOD.
The AVOD. I got to tell you, AVOD is something for everybody to be paying very close attention to, because it is really becoming the next, I think, big thing, which is funny because it was what was people were phasing out years ago, which was I don't want to watch commercials, is now having a comeback because people are going, I can't afford to have 10 different streaming site subscriptions, right? So it's this really interesting thing where one of the things that we do as an indie company is we're always trying to pay attention to the landscape of these things, is what's changing in the platforms. What are the new platforms coming up? And I think that the thing that we do that I don't think enough independent distributors do is that of course we play with the majors. Of course we put the films on the big platforms. Of course we do, because we want to take advantage of our marketing ability to reach their fan base and their consumer base. But at the same time, we pay very close attention to the up and coming platforms. I'll give you a couple of examples. We started doing business with iFlix several years ago. They're a company that's more like Pan Asia, and it's mobile stuff. And when we first started with them, we were seeing quarterly reports, a couple $100, a couple $1,000. Cut to almost 2 years later, we started to see quarterly reports $20,000, $30,000 a quarter, because the platform had just started to really take wind and really build. We work with companies like Seed and Spark. We take a look at all kinds of new companies coming up, because here's what I always say to people. Nobody saw Netflix coming. Nobody knew they were going to be what they became. I remember when they were the little DVD kiosk company, right? Yeah. The Hollywood videos, the blockbusters, the studios laughed at them when they got into streaming. This little company, this crazy little company, right? Mm-hmm. Who's left now, right? And so for us, our job is to pay attention to all of this. Who are the new platforms? Who's coming up over the horizon? What have they done to sort of build up an infrastructure, to build up an audience base? What's their rev share model? If it's not transactional, if it's based on hours viewed. Right. And we take chances with these companies all the time. Some of them work out, some of them don't. There's been companies we've done business with that fell on their face just because they couldn't build the consumer base. But we would not be doing our job if we were not paying attention to these platforms at all levels, because you never know. You just don't know what's going to catch wind, what's going to catch fire. And so it's very important for everybody. But, coming back to the independent filmmaker, here would be my suggestion, to be perfectly honest. The downfall of aggregation is a few things. One, there's no financial assurances or guarantees. Mm-hmm. Two, in most cases, if not all cases, maybe one or two, they don't promote, they don't market, they don't even offer like an a la carte sort of marketing package, right?
Because they don't know. It's so hard to market. You really have to understand it.
Right. So what I would say to any filmmaker out there listening, open up your own AVD account on Amazon Prime, okay? Do that directly. Then all the money that you would have paid to an aggregator to place for you and do nothing else and collect your money, open up your AVD account, and then go hire a small marketing company. Go hire a digital marketing company. Spend that $1,500 on hiring a Haibu or some other kind of company that specializes, or a small PR firm. I'm going to give an example. There's a great PR firm called October Coast PR. Very reasonable. They'll help you get reviews, help you get your film out there, get the press out there, drop the trailer out there, do the things that you don't necessarily have to do. Now you're talking about smart money spent, right? Now you're talking about you've placed it on Amazon Prime, which it can be a combination of accessible to Prime members and transactional, where you have access to potentially millions and millions of consumers, and put all your time and your energy into promoting that film on that platform. And instead of spending this, what I feel is good money after bad, for often exorbitant fees, put that towards your marketing. Because what happens with most independent filmmakers is they sort of drop their wad on the placement fees, and they don't have any money left for marketing. And they're not savvy themselves in most cases in how to manage something like Facebook ads like that. And I'll tell you, for us, I got to tell you, love or hate Facebook on a personal level, their marketing division, the ability to do paid, targeted, marketed, boosted ads,
most powerful marketing machine ever created.
But it's been a powerful tool. Mm-hmm. And that's because we figured out how to maneuver it too. We deal with their algorithms. We deal with the things that we had to go through with what they said was okay or not okay to boost or promote and blah, 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 blah. So we're always managing sort of their ever-changing infrastructure as far as what's okay. But I got to tell you, phenomenal tool, and something where you can do a $50 boost, a $75 boost, a $100 boost, a $500 boost, a $1,000 boost. You can put in the age range, the demographic. You can get as down to the cities. Then you can build in your hashtags, the likes, things that will all help that film's promo end up in streams of potentially thousands and thousands of potential customers, right? So it's amazing to me that I don't see enough indie distributors even using that tool.
Which I find fascinating. I've said this multiple times on the show, and I constantly say it. When you're going to launch a movie, if you're going to focus your energies and marketing muscle, don't spread it out over 5 or 6 platforms. Focus it on one platform at a time. Amazon arguably is the best place to put your movie right away, because everyone generally has, in North America at least, generally everyone has access to Amazon Prime, or something along those lines. I forgot what the number was for Amazon Prime, but I think it's like 110 million people use Amazon in the US. In the US have Amazon Prime. And growing every day. They generate, I think, $53 billion or something ridiculous off of Prime, or whatever that number is, 10 billion, whatever. So Amazon is no slack by any stretch if you focus it all completely on Amazon. And Absolutely. iTunes, whatever. That's it's a vanity platform. I wouldn't worry about it. And then the smaller ones that people are like, I want to be on Xbox, I want to be on PlayStation, I want to be on Fandango. Those platforms are so minuscule.
Yeah.
Compared to Amazon. It's insane. Right. Or Google Play for that matter.
And what you're saying is where I'm going. If you, as an independent filmmaker, if you place your film just on Amazon, which you can do directly, at almost no cost, right? And let's say that your film passes the content restriction quality control that they do, because there are films, we've had a few, everything's getting more PC these days, where some films become what's called 18 and up. So they won't allow you to place it on Prime. You only get access to Amazon Instant Video, right? So it's transactional. But that depends if you have pretty, intense content. I mean, for us as a horror film company, especially Terror Films label, we've definitely had a couple of films that sort of, hit the.
But would you recommend then, for Vimeo, like something like Vimeo Pro or Vimeo Plus or something like that?
Here's where I was going to go, though. It's in tune with the other platforms we're talking about. So if you put your film on the Amazon Prime and promote that, and you hire a little PR team or a little marketing guy or a little digital marketing company to really help it get traction, and that film starts to make money, right? Starts to bring in the money. Well, now that you're seeing money come in, take some of that money and now go hire a aggregation company if you want to be on Google or Xbox and you want to expand a little bit, right? Then okay, I get it, right? But at least hedge your bets on one of the biggest platforms on the planet, because if your movie's going to find an audience and start to make money, Amazon Prime's probably one of your best bets. So why not give them the shot first and direct money into marketing efforts on that platform? Because even if you're not an Amazon Prime member, anybody can go on Amazon and then pay a transactional fee to rent your film too. So you don't even have to, it's not just about tapping into Amazon Prime subscribers where you're stuck with just the rev share model, right? You also have the ability to point people there just for a transactional buy, right? And you can list your transactional fee to rent your film at $1.99 if you want to, right? So there's so many advantages for filmmakers to avoid, spending too much money and having somebody else control their content and more importantly, control their revenue.
Right.
And again, I'm not here to undermine aggregation services. I'm really not. We need them. We all need them. Or
distributors, good distributors like yourself. Like you're saying, like what you're telling them is basically a self-distribution model. But when you are able to partner with someone that can bring value, and that's, I think, the biggest thing is if you're going to partner with a distributor, they have to provide value to you, meaning
Yeah.
revenue, exposure, marketing muscle, being able to get you into deeper markets like an Amazon, where, you know, if you do it yourself, you get 2 markets. If you go through a company, you might be able to get into many more markets in the world. There's so many different.
For example, for us right now, I mean, our dashboard is open to about 60 plus English speaking countries on the Amazon Prime world, right? So and the advantage to something like that is when you talk about, you know, a company that supports the films, like, you can probably turn to any one of our filmmakers and I would even point to the filmmakers that have been with us for, you know, several years now, because of our interest in because of the way the model works, and because we have skin in the game, and because we pay for a trailer, and we pay for a poster, and we pay for the marketing, and we pay for the publicist, and we pay for the platform placement, and we absorb all of that. You don't sit behind any of that. What it does is it actually, I hate to use this term, but it really just forces our hand to do what we say we're going to do.
No, of course.
It's not only in our contract, but it does sort of put us in a position where if we don't do what we say we're going to do, if we don't continue to market your films, we don't make any fucking money. We're going to close our doors. We're going to go under because we have skin in the game. We've spent thousands of dollars for every film just for its initial launch that the filmmaker doesn't sit behind. And so the benefit for a lot of our filmmakers and anybody following our social media page, I think specifically our Facebook page for Terror Films, we're always doing new promotions. There's going to be a new promotion dropping soon. We just did a 21 film placement with Roku. Right, that we're going, and most of them are library titles. There's only a couple of new titles that's going to go out. We're going to promote the hell out of that. We're about to do a big content deal with a streaming site called Horrify, and we're going to promote that. We're always coming back to our films. This entire month, we're doing something called the ABCs of Horror. So every single day, we're promoting several films in alphabetical order from our library. We do a paid boosted ad on every single one of those. Most of these films are you know, library titles. They're not the new titles. The new titles, you know, but my point is we keep coming back to them. We're always promoting. And part of that is also because what we've learned, and this has been from trial and error, of course, is that there's never a bad time to find an audience in the digital sphere, right?
There's always someone new. There's always somebody new.
It's an opportunity where the audience and the consumer can find you. The other thing that we also do is that we're very active on social media with replying to customers. So when somebody drops something on our pages and says, "Oh, I really love this movie," we not only thank them, we encourage them to leave a review on the platform, because the more good, positive reviews that get placed on the actual platforms automatically within the infrastructure of the platforms raises those films up in a sort of an automatic promotion within the algorithms of the platform itself to consumers who may not have known about that film, may not have seen a promotional release or a trailer or any of the press that we did, and go, "Oh, what's this film that Amazon is promoting, or that Vudu is promoting, or that whoever is promoting?" And that's because we're encouraging those positive reviews, because the more positive, more 4- and 5-star reviews you get, it's just going to raise to the top of the heap. And we've had a situation too where we've had some films, bam, they burst out of the gate, Alex, and they start making money right away. Mm-hmm. We have other films 3, 4, 5 quarters in before they start to get traction. This is why we never stop promoting. It's why we never stop coming back to the films. So again, you know, I think for independent filmmakers, you know, you need to ask around, not just about aggregators, about distributors, but more importantly, this is an educational process. What I hope to have happen from this just mess with Go Digital Distributor is that we get some change to happen. Mm-hmm. And filmmakers understand that aggregation, to one extent from the delivery side, is a necessary evil, but the collection of the royalties and the way that it happens needs to change. And this is affecting everybody. It's affecting everybody. And again, you know, what's difficult about what's happening with Go Digital Distributor is that although they were a top aggregator for Netflix and a handful of the other platforms, they didn't have enough big accounts, right? So when I think about the noise that could be made, is that, well, if we ever find ourselves in a situation where one of the big ones, one of the ones that handles studio accounts, ever ends up in this place, and change hasn't happened by then, I bet your ass it's going to happen then. And my hope is that we wait for that. My hope is that we don't have to get to that place. My hope is to make enough noise now. And listen, here's the thing. I'm going to piss a few people off, man. I already have. Mm-hmm. And I'm not here to give a shit about that. I'm not here to worry about the platform's feelings and aggregators' feelings. I'm here for the independent filmmaker. I'm here to say that something needs to change. I'm here to say that these platforms are accountable, and they need to make some very simple, basic changes on the financial side that will protect everybody. Protect everybody. And it's not a big ask. It's not even a big request. It's not even like I'm being unreasonable, right? It's not even like I'm defending something so absurd that they're like, oh, God, he's crazy. He's out of his fucking mind. That's not – no. I'm asking for some fiduciary responsibility as it relates to our royalties. Simple. It was a
system that was set up originally when we're still very much in the Wild Wild West of this time period, of the streaming time period. We're in the Wild Wild West still. And when they first started coming up on these platforms like iTunes, I think is the one that really got the ball rolling with the aggregators, because Apple's Apple and they wanted to make sure. And then all the other platforms kind of piggybacked on that. It was a flawed system at the very beginning. They didn't look at the long game. They didn't look at the volume that was going to be coming in the years to come. It was a flawed system when they started, and it's a flawed system now. And that is an example of so many things that we happen in our entire world, whether it's, burning gas every single day, as opposed to going to an electrical car or whatever those long-term effects are. We're now feeling it here in our industry. And we're small enough of a boat, because if you're a big carrier, it takes forever to turn. We're an industry that's small enough that we can make quick reactions to this. And we're talking about a handful of companies, and we're talking about, you're not asking for anything that's unreasonable. It's not like you're asking someone, I need a personal check delivered by somebody personally to me at my house every 15 days. Like, I'm not,
I'm not even asking that the platforms give everybody direct access to them. Right. All I'm suggesting is that they set up an accounting infrastructure is that they set up an accounting infrastructure that allows the revenue to come directly to the content holder.
Fair enough.
Whether that's an individual filmmaker or whether that is a distributor. End of story. I'll use your platform delivery services all day long. But
because it's just and just stop it right there. It's like saying you need to use this post house. That's fine, because it's a service, and our relationship should end there, because it's not like it's like if I go to a post house for a color grading session, and it's not like after you're done, you deliver me the master, we're done. That's the end of.
I pay you for the service.
You do the service,
and then other than me needing you to fix something because metadata's off, or at some point I decide I want to take the film down. Again, it's a service. You're not my banker. You're not a financial institution. You're not a collection account. Why are you collecting my money?
Exactly.
Why platforms? And this